Welcome to Spoonful of Ohms Flow and Stretch class with me, Gina.
Reaching through the fingertips, maybe the forehead releases down onto the mat, or you can cross the hands under the forehead. Inhale as you lift up onto all fours, then extend your right foot to the back of the mat, tucking the right toes and pushing your right heel toward the ground. And then on your inhale, feel as if you're pressing the toes and digging down into the mat as you point through the right foot. So you're rolling over the top of the foot. And then come back to roll back over the toes. So you're pressing into the ball of the foot and your toes are tucked again. Push firmly into the mat with the toes as you press them back and roll over the feet. And then tuck the toes as you press the heel back. And one more time, press through the toes, roll over the top of the feet as you point, and press your heel back. Press into your hands and step your left foot back as you move into downward facing dog. And feet are hip width apart, maybe a little bit wider. So you draw the base of the index finger and thumb downward toward the mat, drawing the finger pads back just a bit. And then inhale as you shift forward. Let your knees come to the floor, and exhale as you sit back into extended child's pose, hips toward the heels. Inhale, so you come up onto all fours. Hands come underneath the shoulders. Send your left foot to the back of the mat, toes are tucked. Left heel is drawing back as you stretch through the calf, the back of the leg. And then point through the toes. Push the toes back as you roll over them to point them. And then come to tuck toes, pressing into the heel. And continue to push through the toes until they start to untuck. And then roll back over, press into the heel. And one more time, push through the toes. Point them back, and then press into the heel. From here, stepping your right foot back as you come into downward facing dog, pressing the floor away from you. And then on your inhale, lift your heels nice and high. Start to bring them over the big toe mounds. Lifting the sitting bones upward toward the ceiling, pressing firmly into your hands. And then inhale as you shift forward, let your knees come to the floor and sit back into extended child's pose, hips toward the heels. Inhale as you rise up, sitting on your heels, take your arms back behind you, interlace them and draw the knuckles downward toward the ground. Pull the chest forward as you lift the sternum up. Option to gaze forward or toward where the ceiling meets the wall. Feel the shoulder heads move back and the shoulder blades draw together. And then on your exhale, take your head and bring your left ear toward your left shoulder. Chin toward the chest. And right ear toward your right shoulder. And on your exhale, bring the chin toward the chest as you come to center and bow over the legs like child's pose. Maybe your arms stay bound, or you can release the bind of your hands. The arms can begin to lift off your back as you rotate the shoulders downward toward the thighs. And then inhale, release the hands, reach your arms forward in front. Come up onto all fours, tuck the toes, exhale, downward facing dog, lifting the hips up and back. Inhale, so you gaze forward toward your hands, walking your feet toward the front of the mat, coming into Uttanasana, forward fold. Inhale, lengthen onto the fingertips, long spine. Exhale as you release and fold over the legs. Inhale, press down, lift up, arms rise. Inhale. And exhale, arms come down by your side, Tadasana, mountain pose. Inhale, reaching your arms out and up. Exhale, folding forward, Uttanasana. Inhale to a half lift. Exhale, release the hands down, stepping the feet back into plank. And lift the hips up and back, downward facing dog. Inhale, as you shift forward, bring the knees to the floor, untuck the toes, walk your hands maybe a couple inches toward the front of the mat. Lower the hips down as you lower the forearms and elbows, coming into Sphinx. You can keep it lower by bringing your forearms more forward or keeping the elbows underneath the shoulders. Feet are hip distance apart. Press into the tops of the feet and pull the pinky edge side of the foot toward the ground. Feel the shoulders pull down as your head reaches away from the base of the neck. And energetically pull the belly button up. On your exhale, take your hands back next to your chest as you lower down. Press into your palms, tuck the toes. Knees can stay on the floor as you lift up into plank. Exhale, downward facing dog, lifting the hips up and back. Inhale, so you gaze forward toward your hands, walking your feet toward the front of the mat, coming into Uttanasana, forward fold. Inhale, lengthen onto the fingertips, long spine. Exhale as you release and fold over the legs. Inhale, press down, lift up, arms rise. Exhale, arms come down by your side, Tadasana, mountain pose. Inhale, arms rise up. Exhale, folding forward, Uttanasana. Inhale to a half lift. Exhale, folding forward. Send your right foot to the back of the mat. Straighten your left leg and let the left toes come up toward the ceiling. Bend your left knee as you place the bottom of the foot back down and let your right knee come to the floor. Untuck the toes and straighten the left leg here for half split. Turning the toes to the left and then up toward the ceiling, a little bit to the right side, and moving the leg within the socket of the hip. And so rotating the upper leg bone around, the rest of the leg follows, including the foot. And then coming back to center on your inhale, bend your left knee, take your right hand to the floor, and send your left arm up for a twist. Inhale, reach your left arm forward past the left ear. And on your exhale, send your left arm back as if you're reaching toward the back of the mat. And inhale, reach the arm up and forward and back. And up and forward. And this time as you reach it back, bend the elbow, turn the arm so that left hand comes toward your right hip, comes behind the back. Palm faces away from the body. Start to lift the left shoulder a little more up toward the ceiling. Maybe revolve the torso upward as well. Press firmly into your right hand. Option to gaze up or gaze toward the side wall. And then exhale, release your left hand down to meet the right. Take the hand to the inside of your left foot and sweep the left leg around as you come back into child's pose. Inhale, so you come up onto all fours, tuck the toes, exhale, downward facing dog, lifting the hips up and back. Inhale, so you gaze forward toward your hands, walking your feet toward the front of the mat, coming into Uttanasana, forward fold. Inhale, lengthen onto the fingertips, long spine. Exhale as you release and fold over the legs. On your inhale, take your left foot to the back of the mat. Begin to straighten the right leg, reach the right toes up toward the ceiling, press gently into the back of the knee, hands can be on the floor or blocks. Exhale, bend your right knee, bring the left knee to the floor, untuck the toes, straighten the right leg for half split. Walk your hands back a little bit so they're in line with your right calf or knee. Start to turn the toes and the whole leg to the right and a little bit to the left. Then coming back to center, bend into your right knee. Place your left palm next to your right foot and reach your right arm up as you move into a twist. Inhale to reach your right arm forward past the ear. And exhale, bring the right arm back. And reach the arm up and forward. And reach the right arm back. Reach the right arm up and forward. And as you bring it back, turn the palm away from the body as you bend your right elbow, taking the back of your right hand to your left hip. And press gently the back of the hand into the back and start to turn and lift the right shoulder up, draw it back. Maybe the torso revolves upward as well. And then releasing the hand, inhale, reach it up and forward. Bring the hand to the inside of your right foot as you swing the right leg back and come into extended child's pose. And when you're ready on your inhale, extend your legs out long toward the front corners of your mat. Letting your arms release by your sides, palms face up or in toward the body as you move into our final resting pose of Shavasana. And softening through the upper back, the shoulders. And then once you find that you're nice and comfortable, bringing your attention to your feet and your ankles, starting to relax through the muscles, letting the sensation move up the legs into the knees, and coming into the upper legs, the hips, the lower back, the upper back, the abdomen and chest, into the shoulders, the upper arms, the elbows, the lower arms, and into the fingertips. Soften and relax through the neck and the throat. Bring that softening sensation into the muscles of the face as you relax around to the eyes, the lips, the jaw, the mouth, and the tongue. And then give yourself permission to move a little bit deeper into your Shavasana. Allowing for that final bit of softening. That one thing that you might be holding on to, you allow to let go.
Now on your next inhale, start to wiggle your fingers and your toes. Rotating your wrists and your ankles. Reaching your arms overhead as you come into a full body stretch. And on your exhale, pull the lower back toward the ground as you bring the knees in and wrap your arms around the shins. And rolling onto either side, resting there a moment. Then taking your top arm to press yourself up to sit Sukhasana, and crossing the ankles or the shins and letting your hands come onto your knees or rest in your lap. Bowing your head to yourself, and take a moment here to thank yourself for coming onto your mat to practice this morning. And we'll end with the sound of Om, taking a deep inhale. Om.
And thank you so much for joining our stretch and flow class.